Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's introductory press conference. I'm Tom Whitestone. I'm the Associate Athletic Director for Media Relations here for the Charlotte 49ers. And on behalf of the university, I'd like to thank you for coming out to today's important press conference. Today, we will hear from our University Chancellor, Philip Dubois, 49ers Director of Athletics, Mike Hill, as well as the second head coach in the history of Charlotte 49ers football. After their comments, we will entertain questions from our media. And at this time, if you could please put your devices on mute or silence. Again, thank you all for coming. To get the ball rolling, let me introduce the Chancellor, Dr. Philip Dubois.
Thank you all for being here. This many people didn't turn out when I was installed. Welcome this afternoon. Let's just take a moment of brief silence in memory of President Bush 41. Thank you, and good afternoon. When we assembled with you on November 19th, it was a difficult day, formally parting with Brad Lambert, a man of decency and commitment, who helped us build one of the youngest football programs in the country. Barely 2 weeks later, we gather on a much happier occasion to introduce you to the new leader of that program, Will Healy. And it is perhaps fitting that one of the nation's youngest FBS programs will be led by one of the nation's youngest FBS coaches. But the hiring of Will Healy is not an aberration in the UNC Charlotte athletic program. We are clearly on a youth movement, seeking out individuals with talent, clear principles, a commitment to the development of student athletes, and a moral compass that points north all of the time. The evidence is all around you. We hired Mike Hill as athletic director, a mere kid at 50. That was followed by Ron Sanchez, 41 years old, in men's basketball, and most recently, Anthony Davison, 28, to lead men's tennis. I cautioned Mike Hill at the time that we hired Anthony that Mike's next hire had to be old enough to have a driver's license. And seriously, he has delivered a great coach. We're delighted to attract a coach of Will Healy's caliber and character. You'll hear him talk a lot about building the right kind of culture to have a winning football program. And when I spent time with Coach Healy, we agreed that the management guru, Peter Drucker, had it right. Culture eats strategy for lunch. And one part of building a winning culture is a commitment to family, including one's own family, concern about the work-life balance of the coaching staff, and creation of a meaningful bond with the student athletes. I certainly know that in my line of work, this doesn't happen without the active engagement and support of a spouse who understands the highs and the lows of a profession where one's performance is judged and often criticized with statistical precision every week. And Will has that support in Emily. We're delighted to welcome Emily to Charlotte to become part of our family of 49ers. And I would ask her and Eli to join me on stage for just a minute. So Eli, you want to stand on the stage?
You want to stand? No.
No? Okay. So he's already got some apparel. We got him some more. And Emily, I'm guessing, has another on the way. And so we have for the new baby, the Charlotte 49er official onesie. And
yeah,
I've used this for years, but I cleaned it out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to introduce our athletic director, Mike Hill.
Thank you, Chancellor. Wow, what a day. It is an awesome day to be a 49er. You know, when we began this search process 2.5 years ago, oh, that's right, it was weeks ago, we sought really to energize and transform our program into a championship-level football program. That was the goal here, right? An awesome foundation that was built by Coach Lambert and staff and the players who were here. But we really felt it was time to take this program to new heights with new leadership, and we're so excited to identify that man in Will Healy. When we began the process was very clear to us that we had characteristics that we wanted to identify. And those 4 characteristics of a new head coach were as follows. Number 1, someone of high character and integrity. Number 2, someone who is a proven recruiter. Number 3, someone who has proven that they are a great teacher and a developer of talent. And number 4, someone who values culture. As Phil said, I'm a big believer, we're big believers in culture being crucial to the success of an organization. So those were the characteristics that we sought. But then there was also a lens that we used to look through those characteristics, and that was the filter of, we want someone who wants to be here, right? Someone who wants to be a Charlotte 49er. And that's really important in this process. So we as a team and as executive staff pulled together a list, an extensive list of candidates. And we vetted those candidates through a lot of different tools at our disposal. We used data analytics. We vetted candidates through conversations with fellow colleagues across the country, administrators, and also coaches. And one thing was very, very clear as we narrowed down the list. Will Healy's name kept coming up over and over and over again. Now, the good news is Will's name was already on our list, so I didn't have to hear it from others on the outside to know he was a guy we needed to look at. But what was particularly impressive to us as a team and as a staff was that everyone we spoke to had high praise for this man, not just as a football coach, but as a human being. And that mattered a lot to me. It mattered a lot to us as we made this decision and made this choice. A little bit about Will's background. Many of you have already read and seen his bio, but Will played quarterback. He grew up in Chattanooga, grew up and played football at Richmond, where he was a captain on a national championship team at Richmond. He coached at Chattanooga for 7 seasons, and while he was there, he coached quarterbacks, wide receivers, also served as recruiting coordinator. When they first arrived at Chattanooga, the program was not very successful at that time, and by the time he left, they were a regular playoff contender. Okay, so he made an impact, obviously, developing talent, teaching, and recruiting, because their recruiting classes got better and better as time went on. So he has the success at Chattanooga, and along comes Austin Peay. And this is no slight to Austin Peay, but I've heard Will say this, so I feel like I can say this. Nobody wanted the job. It was a bad, bad job. It was a tough job. Maybe the worst at the time in college football in terms of accomplishment. Understand that when Will Healy was hired to be the head coach at Austin Peay, they had lost 34 of their last 35 games. Imagine that. Okay, they had won 3 games of their previous 46. That's almost unfathomable. That's a tough, tough stretch. So Will comes in and promptly delivers a season that was average for Austin Peay. They were 0-11. So naturally, he immediately jumped on our radar to be a head coach. But what was really impressive was this. 0-11, and what was their recruiting class ranked after 0-11? Number 1 in the country. Who does that? That's spectacular. Okay, so that gets everyone's attention, right? And then what happens the next season? An 8-win season, 8-4 overall, 8-1 against FCS competition. Probably a little overscheduled with 3 FBS opponents that year, right, Will? So barely missed the playoffs, should have been in the playoffs, really got a raw deal there, okay? He was named National Coach of the Year. Eddie Robinson Award is the National Coach of the Year at the FCS level. What an incredible accomplishment. Think about this. In the last 35 years, Austin Peay had not had 2 consecutive seasons of 5 wins or more. Well, this past year, he followed it up with a 5-win season. So in his 3 seasons there, he's already knocked that record out. He's won 13 games his last 2 years against FCS competition. And clearly a rising star as we talk to everybody across the country. A proven recruiter, a proven developer of talent, a man of high character and integrity. and someone who values culture. I think what we got in Will Healy is this. Will Healy reflects our program and our institution. He is a young, hungry up-and-comer and a force to be reckoned with. He is going to kill it in recruiting. I'm just telling you, mark my words, he's going to kill it in recruiting. And he is going to make our football program a major factor in this city, in this state, and in our conference. We could not be more proud to have Eli and Emily join us, and your whole family, child-to-be as well, and especially to invite our new head coach, Will Healy, to the stage. Please welcome Will Healy.
All right, I know the last time I was able to stand up here, a lot of people asked if I was going to introduce my dad. I really am lucky enough to be the new head coach here. I know I look 12. That's okay. That helps me relate. And I am, let me just tell you something. I feel like I'm living a dream. And this has been a job for me that I've always felt like was a sleeping giant. I've always felt like had the ability to be one of the top programs in college football. I think when you drive on this campus for the first time and you get a chance to see the facilities, you see the resources that this place has to offer, this place is really special. And my family and I are just living a dream being able to be here. So thank you all for coming today. And I'd love to talk to you a little bit about what I think our culture will look like and where, to me, this program goes from here. I've got a lot of ADD, so standing behind a stage for this long will be difficult, but I'll be able to pull it out. Number one, I had to stand in front of a group of young men last night at Austin Peay at a 5 o'clock meeting after I was fortunate enough that Chancellor Dubois and Mike Hill called me and offered me the job. I had to stand in front of a group of young men that gave everything they had for me. Totally turned around the face of a program. We were the 256th ranked team out of 256 Division I teams. Those kids picked Austin Peay when picking Austin Peay wasn't cool, when there was no winning, when there was no track record, when there wasn't a history, and they wanted to be the face of change. And they picked us. And I had to walk out of those young men's lives last night because I knew that there was an opportunity in front of me that I could not turn down. And that was this opportunity. That was an opportunity to go change and take the next step as a program at Charlotte. So, number one, I want to give my thanks to Dr. White. You think I look young now? You should have seen me 3 years ago. I feel like when you're a head coach, you age in dog years. It's 7 years per year of coaching. So I was a 30-year-old head coach, had never called the play in my life, and had a chancellor in Dr. White that had enough belief in me to hire me to change a program. Ryan Ivey, same thing. Ryan is the new athletic director at Stephen F. Austin and gave me a shot when, again, no one else would. And then had a new athletic director in Gerald Harrison that I think is an absolute rock star. And I tell you this, because I've had to do this as a head coach before. It takes tremendous character for a person to sell somebody that they don't want to lose. And I think what Gerald was able to do with talking to Mike Hill and Dr. White was able to do with vouching for me says a lot about their character. I know it wasn't a great thing for me to do to leave them, and I know they didn't want that to happen, but they played an instrumental part in me being able to stand up here today in front of y'all. So I really appreciate them. I will always be an Austin Peay fan, and I love that program and look forward to tremendous things from them. Mike Hill called me and he said, "Hey, Will," he said, "This is Mike Hill." I already had his number, but he said, "This is Mike Hill at Charlotte." He said, "I just want to know if you would have any interest in speaking to us about the Charlotte job." And I said, "I would walk to Charlotte from Chattanooga just to have an opportunity to talk to you about this job." And he said, "Well, I'm not going to make you walk. I actually may fly you somewhere or fly to come see you." And we had a lot of different twists and turns in this thing. I feel like the last 7 days has been an unbelievable adventure. Talk about putting years on your life. The last 7 days have definitely done that. But to me, I think the blessing in disguise from this whole thing was the commitment that Chancellor Dubois and Mike Hill had for me and the support that they showed for me, even though there were hiccups along the way. And to me, I feel I feel the same way as I did leaving Austin Peay about the alignment between Chancellor and Athletic Director as I do here. This place has a chance to be successful because those two are in charge. I have a chance to be successful. The best recruiting job I've ever done is my 33-year-old wife, Emily, and our 33-week pregnant wife, Emily, even though you can't even tell. And our little boy, Eli, is 4 years old. And I told the guys in the team meeting, my favorite part of the day has been able to address that group. I told them, Eli will be sitting front row in the meetings. You always got to watch what you're saying, how you're saying it, because there's always somebody watching. And if you say something you shouldn't say, trust me, he will let you know that is a bad word. All right, so we will go over what the list of bad words are for our team room. But you talk about an adventure and a roller coaster. Imagine being a head coach's wife. And the way that I've watched her grow, the way I've watched her become the face of a program and a mom to so many of our guys at Austin Peay, and she's looking forward to this challenge of being an unbelievable, female figure for these guys and a mom away from home, so to speak. She's involved. She'll be here. We have dinner. She'll bring dinner. The coaches' wives, the coaches' kids will be around. I think that family and atmosphere has been the best part about having an opportunity to choose your culture and be a head coach. My rock star, my best thing that's ever happened to me, I locked her down in 7th grade, so guys, don't ask for any dating tips. I have zero game, I can promise you. I locked her down in 7th grade and gave her no choice but to marry me. So she is the rock star. My family is here. I have the most supportive family that I don't know if Charlotte is prepared for the Healy family. I made sure that I signed any contract that I needed to sign before Mike and Chancellor Dubois met my family because they are rambunctious and energetic, passionate, enthusiastic, all of the above. But there's nobody who's been more supportive for me in my life. And there's nobody who's more excited to be 49ers than what the Healy family is. So thanks a lot to them for coming. For all of you, this place is a gold mine. What you have in front of you, I don't know if even you understand the potential of this place. I promise you, when we have opportunities to bring recruits on this campus, which some of you guys here that signed at Charlotte can vouch for this, people will fall in love when they drive through the gates. The vision, the excitement, the opportunities of this campus and this football program are through the roof. And I am so fortunate and lucky and wonder who I had to smooth over to have a chance to be the head football coach here, because this place is going to be really special. Why? I was interested in the job from the get-go because I knew it would not be a hard sell to move my wife to Charlotte, North Carolina. So how, our family goes about things and being able to have a great place that we can move to and raise a family was a big deal for me. Obviously, the city in itself, there's no doubt about it. I think the other thing is the people in Charlotte need to come see what this place is about. Because when you have a chance to drive through those gates and you see these facilities, and the coolest part about this place to me is this part right here is growth. You got a chance with some concrete slabs right here where we're going to go build our own addition to this place. We're going to go build our own history. We're going to build our own culture. We're going to build our own name for ourselves. And where we're sitting right here at one point in time will be part of a stadium with 40,000 people screaming about Charlotte athletics. That's my vision and my hope for this place. To me, we got to stop being such a hidden gem. And we got to get people here. We got to get recruits here. We got to get high school coaches here. We have to get prospective student athletes here. We have to get prospective students here, because once you come through these gates, you can't help but fall in love. The resources, the people, the opportunity to raise our family in Charlotte, North Carolina is a dream come true for us. I am so excited about this opportunity. I've been told way too many times in my life that I can't do something or that we won't do something. and all you got to do is just watch us. I'm excited. I'm lucky to be here. My office is always open. This isn't just for the people that are here. This is for the people of Charlotte. For me, what is going to make Charlotte different than other people is the accessibility factor. So you're going to know our players, you're going to know our coaches, you're going to want to pull for them, and I say this all the time. There's always a Panthers, a North Carolina, a South Carolina, whatever type of other game is on. But people are going to come here because they know us and because of the accessibility and the relationships that our players and our coaches and our athletic department have with them. We're going to build a family atmosphere. Practices, wide open. Meetings, wide open. Anything you want to come to and you want to watch how we build our culture, come do it. Come see it firsthand. We don't have anything to hide. I can promise you I told the team I'm not Vince Lombardi, Newt Rockne. I don't have all the answers by any stretch, but we have nothing to hide. We believe in who we are. We believe in how we try to raise a culture and how we're trying to raise these young men to be great husbands and fathers. We believe in the opportunity that comes with being a student athlete here at Charlotte, and I can't wait to be going along this journey with all of you in this room. Let's hope we remember this day just for the growth of the program, what this place is going to become. I'll say this, what Brad Lambert did here is absolutely incredible. I had an opportunity to sit with Kim and all the group, the double Chris's and everybody at the same table where the first conversation about bringing Charlotte football back was had. I interviewed at a table. Chancellor Dubois and I had more FaceTime activity in the last 4 days than I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never put a suit on to get on FaceTime until this week. All right, but I've checked that off the list. My deal is the same place where that conversation was started, the same great decision that was made to bring Charlotte football back is going to hopefully be a conversation that we remember years from now about how Charlotte took the next step. Brad Lambert has done a fantastic job of building the foundation of this program. He's a fantastic coach. He's hired a fantastic group of coaches. He's raised some young men that showed unbelievable character in some really adverse times when they go to the last game, they don't have a head coach, and now I think you see a lot about a character of a football team by how the guys go out and compete and play. And not only did they go compete and play, but they played excellent, and they won a football game at FAU to end the season at 5-7, a big football win for this program. So for me, my job is to make sure that this program has the opportunity to take the next step. And it does. It's got all the resources, it's got the facilities, it's got the university, it's got the leadership from the top. And I'm going to surround myself with some of the best people that you guys have ever had a chance to be around. I'm looking forward to hiring a staff because I know it'll be just like me. It'll be easy to make sure that the staff that we have here is the best of the best. People want to live in Charlotte. People want to be at this university. People want to recruit to this place, just like these guys are going to want to play and put on a great show for you and your university. So I'm lucky to be here. I am so excited about this opportunity. I won't let either one of you fail. And my family is beyond blessed to be a part of the Charlotte 49ers. So thanks a lot for coming today, and look forward to this journey with you.
Folks, at this time, we'll open it up to questions from our media members. If you do have a question, if you raise your hand, I'll get you one of these mics. We also have a microphone in the back. Introduce yourself with your name and affiliation, and obviously you've got any of three folks that you can ask some questions for.
No Healy family is allowed to ask questions.
Hey, Will, David Scott from the Charlotte Observer. What's your assessment of the program? 6 years in, kind of your overall, what do you think about it?
Well, the question was what I think about the program right now. To me, it's so different than what I took over 3 years ago at Austin Peay. These guys know how to win football games. They've been extremely competitive in this conference. Again, for me, I look at how hard do they play. I think that you look at the character of a football team through the adversity that they went through. You also see the improvements from last year to this year. Obviously defensively, it's one of the best turnarounds in college football this year. But I think you went from an opportunity where now you hoped you could win to now they expect to win. So I think the foundation has been laid to take the next step and do it in a hurry. The talent level on this roster is really good. There are some guys in certain situations that you got 8 all-conference players as part of this roster, and you got the overwhelming majority of those guys coming back. So the foundation is built. Not only do you have a great program, do you have great facilities, do you have a great city, but you also have a program that's won some football games and is very close to taking the next step.
Coach Healy, I'm Jason Brown with Spectrum News. Welcome to Charlotte.
Thank you very much.
In listing the qualities that they were looking for in a head coach, and one thing that Mr. Hill said today, if I'm quoting him correctly, says that you're going to kill it in recruiting. It's one of your trademarks at Austin Peay. What is it that you do in recruiting to bring talent to a program that may not be that desirable to many on the outside?
Well, he's trying to put pressure on me already. That's really why he said kill it in recruiting. But for me, the relationship piece of it is really important. I want to fight big-time battles in recruiting. And to me, if you win in recruiting, you will probably win on the field, and really good players make really good coaches. So to me, it's making sure that you take some guys who are interested in a different type of experience. We're going to have more energy, passion, and enthusiasm than any team in college football. We're going to have a staff that handles their business the exact same way. We're going to develop our relationships better than anybody else does. And we're going to make it really hard on you to turn down Charlotte. And that's what we've made a living on. We were 0-11 and able to sell a vision and a culture and a future. There's more to life than football, what type of student-athlete experience you'll have here, and now you add resources to that, and that's a pretty deadly combination. So for me, it's relationships with high school coaches, it's relationships with parents, it's relationships with recruits, and the student-athlete experience at Charlotte will be different than you can say whatever you want, you can understand the right answer, but to me, living it is totally different, and we're going to live it.
Coach Nick Carboni from NBC Charlotte, welcome to town.
Thank you.
Take us through the last 7 days. I know you talked about a lot of turns. To see a job that you want as much as you say you wanted it, almost land in somebody else's hands and then come back around. What was that like for you?
That's a great question. How honest am I allowed to be, Mike? No, I'm just kidding. Here's the thing that I always said is, number one, I had a great job. And I had a bunch of kids that I believed could come back and do something really special. And so regardless of how good of a job I believe this is and will be, it was still really hard for me to wrap my mind around leaving 105 kids that I had invested so much and believed so much in. So when I thought the job was full, I thought it's an unbelievable hire. Obviously you have abilities. This was not a job that people didn't want. I knew how many people wanted this job. People have been talking about this job for years and about what they thought it could be. So I knew the competition for this job would be very stiff and it'd be a difficult job to get. I knew the only chance I had is if I got in front of them. Because if you look at resumes and you're going to compare this guy's resume to this guy's resume, I'm not winning that battle. I had to get in front. I had to sell a vision, a culture, a relationship, a passion, and energy that you can't always do over the phone. That you got to sell the fact that this is what we've done. You got to understand a little bit about the culture and the history that we inherited when we were at Austin Peay and the way we changed it and the way that we changed expectations. So understanding the total picture versus just looking at a resume. But to me, developing a relationship with these two where they believed in me enough to turn a program over enough to me. And here's the great part about it for me is I believed in this job before I got to see what it was really like, before I got to meet the administration, before I got to see the facility. You know the first time I got to see the facility? 2 hours ago. So, we could have been in a trailer and I'd have taken the job. I didn't care. So the alignment, the possibilities, it was probably as tough on my wife. I went to New York for the National Football Foundation meetings to raise money with some boosters from Austin Peay. and expected to stay through Wednesday, and got a call yesterday morning saying this may happen. So I flew back, and I'm grabbing some stuff out of the closet last night to bring over, and I was like, Emily, it feels like I've lived 5 days in one today. Like I was in New York City, and now I'm in Clarksville, and I already had a team meeting, and I mean, it just feels like you've lived, 2 or 3 years in 7 days. The range of emotions, the excitement, the disappointment, all of the above, how you handle the situation, to me, how I handled the adversity of I'm not getting the job, and Mike and I's conversation when some of those things went on, I think was important. And then going all the way to Mike's belief in me to stand behind me and believe in me, even though sometimes from the outside perspective and a resume perspective, it may not look like you would expect. So range of emotions, but really lucky to be standing here. I feel like I'm living in a fog right now, but it's been a lot of emotions over the last 7 days. But to end it with this, it's been all worth it. I'd do it again 100 times.
Richard Walker, Gaston Gazette. Happy to welcome to Charlotte. Obviously, you've cut your teeth as a recruiter. What was your impression of Charlotte? And obviously, every year there's a bunch of Division I guys coming out here. And do you have any kind of metric or formula for how many local guys do you want, or you just want best players no matter where they're from?
Yeah, to me, North Carolina has really good high school football, and this is where you start in recruiting. I think that one of my first jobs will be to make sure that I get an opportunity to recruit Charlotte locally, and anybody who we feel like can play here and will buy into our culture and do it the way we want to do it. We want to try to make it really hard on them to leave here. And so I think developing relationships with high school coaches here locally will be extremely important. And it's no different for me for the high school coaches as it is for the fans and the people of Charlotte. The accessibility side will be really important. Having clinics, reaching out, going to high schools, going to high school football games, spring practice, having them in, sitting with your staff where they get to know you. And it's not, they get to come on campus, because I bet you a bunch of them haven't been here. So having them come in and say, wow, I had no idea it was like this, will be very important, not just buying into you, but buying into this place. So we got to do a great job as a staff developing those relationships locally, recruiting the state of North Carolina extremely hard, and there's plenty of athletes here that we can win championships with.
Hey, Scott Lieberman, Minor Obsession. Coach, you've had a lot of success in the FCS level as a player and as a coach. What would you say is your biggest challenge moving up to FBS?
I think making sure that we utilize resources the right way. Obviously, there are things that this place has to offer that I didn't have where I was, and it doesn't make it a bad place. I think what happened for us at Austin Peay is we started from the bottom, and we continue to get better and better every single year. And it's an unbelievable place. It's a good job now, and I think what this place has to offer is resources. I just got a chance to speak to this football team, and I said, every day you walk through this building, thank goodness that you had the ability to come be a student athlete at Charlotte. The resources, the facility, the support, the university, the academic aspect of it, this is a really, really good place. I'm not going to be used to having some of the personnel around me that this place has to offer. So I think getting used to the resource side, I've been very honest with these guys about it, and I think that's the great part is they understand that they will have to help me through this process. I don't have all the answers, but they know what it's supposed to look like. I think running this place like an SEC program is important. Let's run it that way before we make it that way. So all the resources that we need are here. And I think the fun part about it is this place still has, just like the university, has such an opportunity for growth. So the football program, the athletic department, and the university are going to continue to grow into being the best of the best.
Will, how and when are you going to assemble a staff? What's going to go into that?
I'm going to meet with the staff that's here tomorrow during the day and make some decisions on what the right thing is for them and for me for building the staff moving forward. So obviously recruiting every day is important, and so hope to get that done as quick as possible. I'll have a much better feel after I meet with them tomorrow.
Coach Ashley Mahoney, the Charlotte Post again.
like everyone else in this row said, welcome.
Thank
and
you.
This is.
Do y'all say welcome at every one of these, or is this just like
If you're in
y'all-
Charlotte now,
extra
people are nice.
hospitality? All right, let's keep this relationship going.
You know, quarterback's been a position that's kind of been an Achilles heel for this program since advancing to the FBS level. With your experience as a coach and as a player, what do you know about the position here, and what do you envision for that position going forward?
Well, I told the guys in the meeting that everybody who's in this program has a clean start. So if you were an all-conference player, that's awesome. Be an all-conference player for our staff. If you were not, if you were a bench warmer and you want to get playing time, here's the perfect time. So for me, the quarterback situation is the exact same way. If you watch any level of football, if you're good at quarterback, you have a much better chance to be successful. I think everybody in this room could agree with that. So the quarterback position for us will be extremely important. Our offense runs predominantly through the quarterback. We will see what's on this roster and make sure that we recruit guys that we feel like meet our culture and our scheme moving forward. But we're going to do whatever it takes to win immediately with the guys we have, and then try to meet some levels of, or some areas of improvement to fill this roster with a chance to win next year. So quarterback is where it starts for me offensively. There's no doubt about it. So we'll have to do a good job evaluating where we are and where we want to go.
We have time for a couple more questions.
They're letting y'all off the hook.
Will, in that 17 year, you became, your name got out there a lot, and you became kind of known for your pregame speeches. I'm just wondering if there's anything that goes into those, or is that just something that kind of pours out of you when you get into the locker room? Do you practice them? Do you write them?
I'm really not a good pregame speech guy. I'm not a very good rehearsed speech person. It's like last night, 5 o'clock, you're addressing your football team that you poured so much into, and they poured so much into you. And the one thing that everybody that was around me gave me advice is like, make sure you know what you're going to say before you get in there. For me, why would you not be ultra genuine and ultra from the heart in some of the hardest conversation you're ever going to have? So I walked in today, and I had an idea what I wanted to talk about, but my ADD takes me in total different directions at all times. And I feel like you speak from the heart. And whatever's on your mind, you bring about it passionately and positively, and your kids will feed off of it. I wish I was better at pregame speeches. What I do sometimes, I try to distract you, so I take off my shirt or run or whatever it is, jump up and down, I told the guys I have phenomenal dance skills, so I try to do everything to take away from what I'm really saying, and hope that they'll be like, that was the greatest pregame speech I've ever heard. So.
Next question down here. Hey, Cole Del Charco with WFAE. So you were talking earlier a little bit about wanting to build more stands here, and just have the stands full. So what are some other things you can do besides, just continuing to improve the program that you think could be helpful with that?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is we got to fill 15,000 first. So we've got to create a demand for tickets here. One of the things that was very similar is that, and it's across college football right now, it's not just here, is that people are struggling to make sure that they get great fan support, that they get people consistently to come to games, that students stay for the whole game. We have an unbelievable opportunity with getting involved in the city of Charlotte and making sure that the city adopts us as their team. And comes out and then enjoys the experience while they're here. I think that's a big part of it too. So I talked to our guys. They're going to do a tremendous job after this thing's over of shaking everybody's in here's hand. All right, they're going to. We have a rule of shake a hand rule. So you come to watch practice, you come in our facility, and if they don't know you by your first name and the last name, they're going to shake your hand. They're going to get to know you, and you're going to know them. And it's going to make it really hard when you want to sit at home and watch the 3:30 CBS game, SEC CBS game. You're going to have a really hard time because you're going to say, man, I've developed such a relationship with player A that I've got to go watch him play. I think the other part about it is getting involved in the community, whether it's community service, whether it's reading to elementary schools, whether it's bringing youth leagues here. We have tremendous opportunities in front of us where we need to sell out 15,000 first. And then we're going to get to the point where we create enough of demand where we're going to build on to where this concrete is right now. And these guys are going to be the ones that are the reason why it happens. So relationships are the biggest point for me. It's their job, and we talked about it today. The person you sit next to in class every day is a fan. So you better get to know the person sitting to the left and right of you where they want to come out and watch you play. You want to get students out? Develop a relationship with your student body. We have 29,710 students. That's why they were up here. I knew they would come in big time at the end. So that's, we got 29,000 students that could come out and watch us play, and they got to buy in first, and they're going to buy in because of the relationships they build with our student athletes.
Will, you talked a little bit about the quarterback a couple minutes ago. What are your offensive and defensive philosophies?
Offensively, we're a spread option. We enjoy dual threat quarterbacks that have the ability to extend plays, and based on how well he would run would dictate how often we would run him. I think we have different things in our scheme that can dictate what the read would be, but it's a zone read type offense. We have a West Coast principles in the pass game. I think some of the best conversations we have with our kids are some of the same philosophies we're running, or some of the same philosophies that they get a chance to watch on Monday Night Football each and every week, and some of the same terminology. Defensively, obviously for us offensively, it is built on what you can establish up front on the offensive line. We will recruit as many running backs as we can have, because to me, balance is we're going to run the football more than we're going to throw the football on paper, but our balance is going to be in yardage. So, for us, our big goal is 250. We need to rush for 250 and throw for 200 and create big play capability. Try to throw it, 20, 25 times a game and run it 50 times a game. Establish the line of scrimmage, help our defense win the time of possession, win the turnover battle. Defensively, we are a 4-2-5 defense, and we believe in rushing the passer. That's the biggest deal. If you can get pressure with your front four, you don't have to blitz. So we're going to be really good at the defensive line position. In 12 years of being a part of this defense, we've had 10 all-conference or all-American defensive ends. So it's where it starts. Our defensive tackle is the same thing. We got to rush the passer. We're playing more of the fifth defensive back, adjusting to what people have done from a personnel perspective, 10, 11 personnel more so than the old school power I, 21 personnel type stuff. So 4-2-5 and spread option with West Coast principles, finding ways to get the ball in playmakers' hands.
This one's actually for Mike, and throwing it around a little bit.
You're finally off the hook.
Mike, you said initially that the deadline, if you will, would be December 19th, and you've hit that 2 weeks early. What does this extra time allow for you guys as a program to build and look at as a whole?
Sure. So December 19th is our early signing date, and that was really sort of a worst-case scenario in our mind. We wanted to have it done sooner than that, clearly, and we've done that. So excited to have a chance to get Will in here now and have an opportunity to take a look at our commitments and to, really to get out on the road and bring some kids in here, assess our talent level and what we have, and also to meet with our coaches and to build a staff. There's a lot of work that is involved in running a football program. It's extremely complicated, just the volume of players that you have, the number of staff people that you have. And so getting him on board now gives him the opportunity to assess our talent level, assess our recruiting needs, and to impact the December 19th signing day. So it's huge.
This question is also for Mike Hill, Jason Brown against Spectrum News. Mike, you obviously touched on the characteristics you were looking for. Recruiting, we've gone over. What else, though, was it about Coach Healy for someone of his very young, very limited coach experience that made you say, this is the guy that we need for the 49er program to take the next step in the building process and get it to the level that obviously where you want it to go?
We talked about the characteristics. We also said at the outset that we didn't know yet what this person would look like. We didn't know if it was going to be a head coach, an assistant coach at a Power 5. We knew what we were looking for in terms of the qualities of the person. And so when we met with Will, we recognized that he had all the qualities we were looking for, and an energy and an enthusiasm that we really felt, and I felt, was going to be hugely impactful here for our program. I remember being at the University of Florida when Jeremy Foley took a chance and hired a 29-year-old guy named Billy Donovan. Okay, and everybody said, 29 years old, what are you doing? You know, and two years as a head coach at Marshall. And very okay years, nothing special. And the rest is history in terms of what Billy Donovan accomplished. So, you know, no pressure, Will, but you got to be Billy Donovan. Right? No pressure. That's it. But my point is this. I think that there's as I said earlier, I think he reflects our institution. You know, young, hungry, up-and-comer. He is a force. You can feel it in the room when you're with him. You can see that. And he's got that dynamic personality that's required to really be a factor in a city like this that has so many different interests. And we want to be known in this city. We don't want people to have to figure out we have a football program. People need to know that. They're going to know this guy. It will not take long at all for them to know him and for him to make an impact locally in recruiting, in my opinion. So, you know, I think this too, you know, people sometimes, they're scared to make a hire, right? And so it's a little bit like coaching. I think coaches who play not to lose don't win championships. And so we're going to run this program here with fearlessness. And I believe he has the qualities and the characteristics that it takes to build a championship program. And the chancellor agreed with me. And so that's why we made this decision. We're going to be fearless in our decision making and have some institutional courage to go with our instincts here, and he's the right guy.
Coach would like me to stop asking questions. No more expectations, please.
Do we have any other questions for these guys? Seeing none, we'll let everybody go. We will be doing some photo opportunities right in front of the backdrop over there. And for everyone in attendance, there's also a reception over in the Judy Rose Football Center, so head over to the Championship Terrace and enjoy the reception.